When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Winds that make the tall grass.
Hi, my name is Larry White, and I am your producer and director of The Inner Beat. The Inner Beat is a socially conscious program that sometimes showcases cultural events as well as community events. And occasionally, we'll even bring you a little song and dance. So sit back and enjoy The Inner Beat.
You're going to hear from Brother Shango Blake.
Good afternoon. The brother was right when he said earlier I'm a little nervous because I'm looking directly across and I see both my mother and my father there, so you know.
Okay.
I'm going to get a spanking if I don't get this right.
School games.
I want to say to Sister Lowe that I was listening very carefully to your presentation in terms of health, and it was so rewarding to hear the emphasis on the connection between health and education and understanding that there is a link. At my school, we were the first middle school, I believe, in the country to develop a full-fledged pre-nursing program, starting in grade 6 and going to grade 8. The students learned everything from the causes or the factors that create many of the illnesses that we talk about in terms of diabetes, hypertension, what have you. They learned pharmacology. And in 7th grade, they actually were certified CPR trained by grade 7. And then we linked them with a high school in Queens called Hillcrest that has a nursing program. And also we formed a partnership with Jamaica Hospital, and they actually were doing rounds. And it was interesting because every time we had a parents' meeting, my pre-nursing students were out there taking blood pressure of the parents. And they often took my blood pressure. It wasn't good. But it was very, very informative. And ultimately, one of the young men from my school made news when he used the information that he learned from the pre-nursing program to deliver his nephew. And he ended up going all over the news, up to Oprah Winfrey and what have you, and he spoke with the mindset of someone who was very well trained in the medical field. And actually, one of the goals that we wanted to do this year with the students was we were going to make a rap song about health and education. And the song was going to go push-ups, sit-ups, lunges, crunches. Don't forget those healthy lunches. Keep your body fit at 109. Exercise your body to expand your mind. And that was going to be the song, and then they were going to rap about it. So I just wanted to say that I'm definitely a person who's a believer in terms of what you were talking about. I was asked to come here today to speak about African-centered education. Now I have to tell you, I told you before I was nervous because my parents are here, but the truth is I'm amongst people who I don't really feel that I should be giving a lecture to about African-centered education. I feel I should be sitting down and being lectured to. And many of the individuals in this room, I've grown up watching them as my elders. You know, Dr. McIntosh, and Sister Betty Dobson from Simotap, Brother Solomon. You don't remember this, but there was a time we did a program at the park in Southern Queens, and we had a youth day program. And so I was organizing all these young people, and we were out in the streets, and they were putting their raps together, and we were bringing in vendors, what have you. So I come up to Brother Solomon after, I said, "How did it go?" "Could have been better." And I said, "Oh man!" But the next year I came and I got better. So we have to raise the standards for our children, and that's how we produce excellence. And so he didn't tell me what I wanted to hear, he told me what I needed to hear.
You came to as a principal. How old were you when that happened?
I must have been in my teens. I was in my teens, 16 and 17. And that speaks to what we need to involve our children in. You know, because if we involve them young in things that are constructive, then they'll grow up to do constructive things. But the thing that I was asked to deal with was the need for an African-centered curriculum. And what I thought about was the most obvious, and that is our history in this country. You know, we've often heard Malcolm speak about when we were brought here, we were robbed of our language, our religion, our culture, and that we were trees without roots. And then there's a scripture that says, my people suffer for the lack of knowledge. So what is the condition of the masses of black people in America? Not those of us who've been able to come up out of poverty, but the masses, the vast majority, who still remain impoverished. Well, the condition is suffering. If we look at health, we can see it in our physical condition: hypertension, diabetes, cancer, drugs and alcohol, HIV and AIDS. We're suffering. Most of us have been the victims of some kind of violence, and some of us have been the perpetrators, whether it's been gang violence, domestic violence. You have a number of young people today that are members of gangs, and what moved them towards wanting to be involved in gangs? Something was lacking, and the gang came in and filled the void. But I guarantee you that most young people that are involved in gangs is because of some kind of suffering and pain, and then the gang came in and they saw that as a way out of their present suffering and pain. As I said before, I don't know any child that grows up and says, when I grow up, Mommy, I want to be a gang member. Circumstances and conditions produce that. So we have gangs amongst our youth, and we have tribes amongst our adults. Now, what are the name of these tribes? Some of them are called Kappa. Some of them are called Alpha. Some of them are called Methodists. Some of them are called Baptists. Some of them are called Presbyterian. Some of them are called Muslim. Some of them are called Sunni. Some of them are called Shiite. Some of them are called Nation of Islam. And what's interesting about our condition is we have a way of finding unity in our worst state. If you bring a bunch of alcoholics together right now, and somebody says, listen, man, I got some stuff, no one's going to ask about the label. They're going to say, well, is it Methodist alcohol or Baptist? Because I only drink Methodist. And what are you? Because I ain't going to hang out with you if you're this and you're that. They find unity in their destructive behavior. And no one ever questions where you come from and who you are when it's involved in something that's destroying us as a people. But as soon as we start to rise up out of that condition and move towards something more progressive, we start to divide ourselves around amongst different theologies. And we're not like others who can put their differences aside and work on the things that they agree on.
Wake up everybody, no more sleeping in bed, no more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what